Tomorrow morning, a number will tell you when to wake up. But the real answer is far stranger. For almost all of human history, nobody knew what time it was. Your ancestors had no glowing digits beside the bed. The first clue is hidden inside your skull. Deep in your brain sits a tiny cluster of roughly 20,000 nerve cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That name sounds complicated, but its job is simple. It is your master body clock. It helps control alertness, sleepiness, body temperature, hormones, and digestion. Your ancestors did not watch the sky to calculate an hour. The sky adjusted the machinery for them. In 1938, sleep researcher Nathaniel Kleitman and his assistant Bruce Richardson entered Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. They stayed underground for more than a month, separated from ordinary daylight and social schedules. Kleitman tested whether the human day could shift toward a 28-hour cycle. Richardson adapted more easily, but the experiment showed that the body keeps timing tendencies when outside clocks disappear. The cave removed the clock face. It did not remove the clock. Later, German physiologist Jürgen Aschoff placed volunteers in an underground bunker where daylight, watches, radio, and normal schedules could not reach them. Many participants began living on days slightly longer than 24 hours. They still slept, woke, ate, and changed body temperature in repeating patterns. Their rhythms had become free-running, meaning the inner clock was ticking without a strong daily reset from the environment. Why does that matter? Because your ancestors were never truly without clocks. They were surrounded by them. Birdsong changed before dawn. Shadows shortened toward midday. Air cooled after sunset. Flowers opened and closed. Insects appeared at particular hours. Tides rose and fell. The moon changed shape. Together, those signals formed a living timetable. Food also carried time. Hunger tends to return around expected meals because your digestive system learns patterns. A hunting group could leave when the air became cool, when a certain bird called, or when sunlight touched a familiar ridge. Nobody needed to say, "Meet at 6." A shared environmental event was the appointment. When the long shadow reached the boulder, you moved. This kind of timing is called event time. Clock time begins at an abstract number. Event time begins after sunrise, after animals drink, after the fire dies, or after rain stops. One system divides life into identical units. The other follows visible change. Which feels more natural to your brain? Anthropologist E.P. Thompson argued that industrialization transformed time into something measured, disciplined, and sold. Before factory bells and synchronized shifts, many tasks followed weather, daylight, seasons, and completion rather than exact hours. A farmer worked until the field was ready. A craftsperson worked until the piece was finished. Mechanical clocks existed earlier, but industry made their precision socially powerful. Time stopped being only a pattern. It became a command. Your prehistoric ancestors faced a different problem. They did not need every person to act at the same minute across a city. They needed flexible coordination inside small groups. Human attention reads other people well, so one person standing, gathering tools, or watching the horizon could start a chain reaction. Movement became the message. Routine became the schedule. Researcher Gandhi Yetish and colleagues offered a modern clue in 2015 by studying the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. These communities used little or no electric lighting. Sleep did not begin at sunset. People stayed awake for hours, then tended to sleep as nighttime temperature dropped. They often woke near the coldest point around or before sunrise. Temperature was also a clock. That result breaks a popular myth. Ancient people probably did not simply collapse when darkness arrived and rise with the first ray of light. Fire and conversation extended evening activity. Temperature, safety, food, childcare, and moonlight shaped the night. Your ancestors followed no perfect natural schedule. They responded to overlapping signals. They also survived because exact timing was often unnecessary. A predator does not attack at an appointment. A storm does not care about your calendar. Wild fruit does not ripen at noon on Tuesday. Survival rewarded sensitivity, not punctuality. The useful question was not, "What time is it?" It was, "What is happening now?" That question demanded constant observation. Is the wind changing? Are the animals quiet? Is the child tired? Is the tide turning? Is there enough daylight to return safely? A numbered clock answers none of these. Precision can distract you from what matters. But your internal clock is not enough by itself. When modern light shines late into the night, it can delay the signals that prepare you for sleep. When an alarm forces you awake before your biological morning, clock time and body time collide. Chronobiologist Till Rowenneberg calls part of this mismatch social jet lag. It is the gap between society's schedule and your biology. You can feel time zone travel without leaving home. That is the counterintuitive twist. Your ancestors did not survive because they lacked time. They survived because they lived inside it. Time was light on skin, cold in the air, hunger in the stomach, migration on the horizon, and familiar movement in another person's body. It was not displayed, it was experienced. A clock gives you extraordinary power. It lets hospitals coordinate surgery, trains share tracks, and strangers meet across great distances. But it can make an abstract number feel more real than fatigue, hunger, focus, or daylight. You can be exhausted at 2 o'clock and still tell yourself it is too early to stop. You can be hungry at 11:30 and decide your body must wait. Which clock are you trusting? Tomorrow morning, a number will tell you when to wake up. Now you know why your ancestors never needed it to tell them when they were alive.